Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new interview here at Commodity TV. And I have the pleasure and honor to speak here for the first time today with Christian Kargl-Simard, the CEO of Blue Moon Metals. Christian, good morning to we are very cold Toronto, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tim. Nice to be here.
So before we begin, we must disclose that this interview is being produced, published, and paid for on behalf of Blue Moon Metals. So, Christian, your company has really undergone an amazing development in the recent months. You have several mining projects in your portfolio that can probably be converted into operational mines in a relatively short time. Maybe let's start with the Blue Moon project in the United States. A PEA already exists for this project. Can you give us an overview of the current status, please?
Sure. So indeed, we have multiple brownfield projects. Our business plan is take Lundin Mining 20 to 25 years ago and how they've advancing brownfield projects, which have lower CapEx intensity, and putting them in production, and those 10-year mine lives become 20 or 30-year mine lives and become company-making projects. So starting with Blue Moon in the U.S., that's the asset that was originally in Blue Moon when I took over the company as CEO in November of 2024. This was an asset that Boliden had in the 90s. They had reserves on the asset, and they left kind of their international business to focus on Europe. And since that time, so call it 25 years, that asset has largely been dormant. We believe this is a mine. It's very similar to Adriatic Metals project that was put in production. Adriatic sold to DPM last year for a big number. So over 50% of the revenues are precious metals, and then you got copper and zinc. The concern was permitting in California, how long it would take. And that's why we went off to buy our Norwegian assets. And a month after we closed on acquiring the Norwegian assets, so call it April of last year, we got our permits to build an underground mine in California. So we started construction on the underground mine in October of last year. We expect to be into the ore body in the summer of 2026, where we'll take bulk samples, do additional metallurgical work, look to expand the resource, etc. We do not have the permits to build a processing facility in California. That would be a 4 or 5 year process. And so we sought out to buy a processing facility that is permitted, where we can transport a high-grade ore from California to such facility. And in October of last year, we acquired the Springer facility outside of Reno, Nevada. And that is where we're going to process the Blue Moon ores in 2028.
Okay, so what's the resource base? And you mentioned that's high grade stuff. So what are the grades? And
Yeah, so there's a 43-101, a resource of 8 million tons that was put out in March of 2025. If you use metallurgical recoveries and current spot pricing, the zinc equivalent grade would be about 19%. It's about $500+ US rock net of recovery. So very, very economic stuff. And interestingly, every month in the last year, the value per ton of rock has increased, in particular because of the precious metals content of the project. So you're looking at 55 to 60% gold and silver revenues, mostly gold. And then the remaining, call it 45%, is zinc and copper, primarily zinc. So it's a gold zinc mine. Adriatic's mine was a silver zinc mine.
Okay. Then you already published a PEA. Can you give us some numbers out of this one?
So Boliden back in the day had a pre-feasibility study on the project, but that predates 43-101. In March of last year, we put out a PEA with the concept of building a processing plant at site. And between the announcement of the PEA and the filing of the technical report, we got our permits to build a mine. So it basically negated the PEA in that we're now going through the process of transporting the material to Nevada. Through 2026, our technical programs, we'll be working on an integration study, our plan with our Springer operations, and we expect to put out a new economic study in the second quarter of 2027 with the mine having been developed. We're kind of advancing a lot at the same time. Economics-wise, we're looking at less than 100 million US to develop the mine, to acquire the mill, and to retrofit the Springer mill. That is $80 million less than what was outlined in the PEA, really because of the savings of the processing plant cost. And this mine should generate around 50 to 60 million of free cash a year for 10 to 12 years.
Okay, so a big benefit for or when you acquire now the Springer facility. So less time for development process, and also you have a plant there, and have less money to.
Yeah, Springer is just an amazing transaction for us. As you point out, time value of money. We can go immediately into production. Certainty on production. That's huge. Having those permits in place without having the uncertainty of permitting in California. But Springer is much more than just a processing site for us for Blue Moon ores. It is a significant site, all on private land. You're next to the I-80 highway, you're next to a railway, you've got natural gas pipeline, you've got lots of water, you got electricity, you got plenty of land to expand, and you have a very large permitted tailings facility, which would be good for decades if it was just Blue Moon. So what we're planning to use that facility for is not only Blue Moon, but use it as a hub and spoke central processing hub that will allow us to go out and acquire other high-grade, likely underground mines in the Western United States and transport the ores to Springer. Not necessarily using the same processing infrastructure that's there today, but Springer is the skeleton to support multiple processing lines of different commodities. So we'd build a new flotation plant, for example, for the next mine and the next mine. So I'm very excited about that. That is exactly on point with the U.S. Strategy and what has been relayed at, for example, the Future Minerals Conference in the Middle East. Plus, Springer comes with a significant tungsten resource. The Springer complex used to be the largest tungsten mine in the United States. There's lots of resources left. They're all historical. We have to do some work on it, but in theory, it could be the next tungsten mine in production in the United States. So Springer is check, check, check.
Okay, then let's come to Norway. There you have launched 2 advanced mining projects. Maybe let's start with Nussir. It's a copper, gold, silver project where you are currently working on exploration tunnel, and for which a feasibility study is planned, I believe, for Nussir. What are the highlights of this project?
Nussir, the geology is sediment-hosted copper. It's like the Kupferschiefer in Poland or Kamoa-Kakula in DRC for Ivanhoe. It is the best type of copper deposit. Excellent metallurgy, very high recoveries, high quality copper concentrate. In fact, Nussir is the only copper project in the world that the EU has given a special designation for, as the copper concentrate is going to go to European smelters. There was a feasibility study completed by the private company Nussir that we acquired last year in 2023 to JORC standards, so Australian standards. This quarter, the first quarter 2026, we will be coming out with our maiden 43101, or Canadian standards feasibility study. It mirrors the Australian study very closely, but it will update for capital costs, operating costs, commodity prices, etc. In May of 2025, we started the construction of the underground tunnel or decline into the ore body. We're now getting close to 1 kilometer down that tunnel. We should hit the ore body in the second quarter of this year. This facility or this site used to have open pit mining back in the 1970s. So there's lots of infrastructure still in place from the 1970s. There's a mill building, there's a port, there's electrical infrastructure, there's barracks. The interesting thing, though, is what they were mining in the 1970s is a different type of geology or deposit type than what we're developing now. So it's a brand new mine we're developing using historical infrastructure that was mining something else. So really good scenario. We're fully financed by the major US group called Oaktree, and we expect to be in production in the third quarter of 2027.
Okay, the second Norwegian project is called NSG. It's also very well advanced. What's the current status there?
Well, we were recommended to go look at Nucir in 2024 by one of my largest former shareholders in the last company I was with. When I went to Norway, I saw that Norway was open for business for mining. Uh, it had been closed for quite some time and very difficult to advance mining projects. And Norway, like the rest of Europe, is very keen to secure supply chains and supply of critical metals and minerals. It takes a very long time for mining projects to advance, as you know. Uh, and because there hadn't been much invested in mining in Norway, there were very few projects that were construction ready or advanced. So we said thumbs up to Nucir. We said, is there anything else in Norway that is advanced that has potential scale? And we found NSG. NSG used to be the largest copper mining district in Norway's history, 26 million tons mined at around 2.5% copper equivalent. And so we bought NSG at the same time as Nucir, both for shares of Blue Moon at an effective $3 Canadian a share. So it's a VMS district. It's going to take several years of exploration to build up, a substantial resource base, but it has lots of infrastructure, basically free power, processing plant, rail, etc.
Okay, if I understand correctly, then you are planning massive exploration and drilling programs for all three projects. So this naturally raises the question of financing. So what's the current cash status or cash position?
Well, let's say 4 projects, because when we close on the Springer transaction very imminently, we will have the tungsten resource as well. We will have an exploration update press release or maiden kind of update in February. And we expect to drill 40 plus thousand meters over all 4 projects in 2026, combination of infill and exploration. Drilling costs are very cheap on our projects. Most of them will be drilled from underground, but we want to get people excited around these projects that there's substantial exploration upside that will extend mine lives and probably expand throughput in due course. From a financial perspective, we entered 2026 with about 80 million US in cash on the balance sheet, and we have undrawn 122.5 million US on our project finance facility with Oaktree. So in essence, giving us about 200 million US in liquidity. Our budgets for 2026 are around 200 million Canadian. So that would leave a buffer of, call it, 40 to 50 million Canadian. We will need to raise more money for activities in 2027, but money is really not an issue at this time. Sourcing, it's really about what is the best cost of capital for us, most prudent. So we'll be opportunistic at the right time.
Okay, you are now aiming for a listing on the NASDAQ, which is rather unusual for exploration or development companies. What do you hope to gain out of this?
I love that question. So our business plan, as I talked about around Springer and Blue Moon, is to really grow multiple mines feeding Springer and providing the critical metals that the U.S. needs, but the Western world needs. Exactly on point. U.S. investors love that. Lots of people are talking about it, but they're not doing it. They're not building mines. They don't have that permanent processing facility. We raised 86 million Canadian equity in October. That was primarily U.S. investors. We saw that the flow of money, at least for our story, is really the U.S. Our growth is the U.S., so it was natural for us to pursue a U.S. listing. We looked at the NYMEX listing, which is what a lot of our peers in mining do, versus NASDAQ. And NASDAQ is a lot more stringent to list on, but we meet all the criteria. The NYMEX is considered the kind of lowest quality, kind of real exchange in the U.S. NASDAQ, of course, high quality. There's actually less costs. for a growth company like that, like us in the NASDAQ. And a lot of good mining companies have started to list on the NASDAQ. Aura Minerals, for example, listed in fourth quarter 2025. This week, Santa Cruz Silver just listed on the NASDAQ. So I think you'll see a lot more of the NASDAQ flavor. We will be listed on the NASDAQ, we expect Monday or Tuesday of next week. So that would be the 26th or 27th of January. I've never listed on a NASDAQ, so I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I do know that most U.S. investors, international investors, have difficulties trading TSXV stocks. And I expect a significant liquidity bump and kind of extra investing interest through the listing.
Is there also interest from Norwegian or Scandinavian investors?
That's growing in terms of new investors, but keep in mind that we acquired 2 Norwegian companies by exchanging private shares into public shares. So if you looked at our float today, we would have 1/3 Norwegian investors, many of them very high net worth, 1/3 U.S. investors, and that's the main growth segment, and then 1/3 other.
Okay, Christian, so you have already had success with development companies in the past. Can you maybe give us a brief overview of your career to date?
I'm a metallurgical engineer by training. Worked about 4 years out of university. Went to Toronto in 2007 as a young investment banker, focused on mining with Haywood Securities and then Raymond James. So 10 years doing that. My best client, or one of my best clients, Altius Minerals, suggested I leave banking to start a mining company. So I did that in late 2016, started Adventus Mining Corporation. We chose Ecuador as our jurisdiction of focus, and we built a copper business over 8 years in Ecuador, including permitting for the first time to international standards, a major mining project that was called the Curipamba El Domo project. We sold that company to Silvercorp in 2024 for around $250 million. Silvercorp immediately started construction on that mine. It will be in production this year, so you can say my name is beside at least one new copper mine. We were disappointed we couldn't build that mine. We are very bullish on base metals, critical metals. We want to become a mining company and have a platform for growth. So Blue Moon is Adventus 2.0, the new and improved Adventus. Adventus was third world, greenfield, unpermitted. Blue Moon is first world, permitted, and brownfield, much, much easier. We're doing a lot of cool stuff very quickly as a result. So we want to build Blue Moon into a multi-mine, multi-jurisdictional mining company with a lot of the team that we had at Adventus, a young, motivated team, and see what we can do over the next 10 to 20 years. Very few people are doing this in the world. There's less than 5 companies in the junior space that I would say are somewhat like us. And there's clearly a need for what we're doing, especially right now. I'm also the chair of a company called Surge Copper Corporation, which is developing, in our view, the most important new copper mining district in Canada. It's in British Columbia. Look for a pre-feasibility study on our large porphyry project in March of this year.
Okay, what can investors expect from Blue Moon Metals now in 2026? What would you say would be the most important catalysts or milestones?
Well, 2025 was about putting the company together, getting the main pieces, understanding what the main drivers of value will be, putting together the team, getting an initial shareholder base, getting project financing. 2026 is taking all that good work, and it's all about execution on the construction this year, make sure we stay on track, on budget, as well as defining the integration between Blue Moon and Springer, and showing the growth path and the power of the Springer complex in terms of additional M&A around Springer. So it's going to be a lot more nuts and bolts this year, and transitioning from a concept really in 2025 to 2027 when we actually become a cash flowing mining company. Uh, I love the setup that we have. We have, with Sprinter, 4 assets. Maybe we'll have 5 or 6 by the end of this year. Each one of them we think have a chance to double or triple in size. Each one of them have the ability to potentially become a company maker, and we're trading at around $6 a share at 0.3 times PNAV. There are so much stuff going on in this company. It's super dynamic. On any given day, I could have 10 positive things, 2 negative things, 5 positive, 5 negative. It's just there's lots going on, and there's a lot of excitement for shareholders. I can't think of another mining company of any size building 2 mines at the same time. We have a mission to satisfy the needs of the world, and we're all aligned. And God willing, and with continued money flowing in, we our shareholders should do quite well.
Okay, Christian, then thank you very much for this insight into your company, Blue Moon Metals. All the best for 2026, and let's do an update soon.
Sounds good, Tim.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. That was Christian Kargl-Simard, the CEO of Blue Moon Metals. The company is in a very good shape. A lot of drill results to come, a feasibility study in the making, and we also hope to get news about maybe a production decision soon. Yeah. By the way, Blue Moon Metals is also featured in the recent Swiss Resource Capital Battery Metals report, which you can download at rohstoff-reports.com. We will also have the link here in the video. I would say check out Blue Moon Metals, and bye-bye from Switzerland.